This is getting harder to identify with. I can't see every post and read every comment, but I feel the general sentiment here is just people who work in offices complaining about workplace politics and the end of WFH. I don't work a job like that. I don't communicate with my boss and coworkers via email. I don't have numbers. But it doesn't seem unreasonable to assume most jobs aren't in office spaces where emails are half the battle. You can't work in trades or be a cook from your home. I get the large-scale implications of capitalism and government by making you come back to the office. But the way people frame their complaints about it sound like, poor me. I have to physically go to work. That just doesn't sound very sympathetic to me. I'm not trying to belittle the cause of the office worker, but I just don't identify with it. Much in the same way I feel none of those posters have other types of workers in mind. There are people out there with jobs that are destroying their bodies, producing and moving real things with real value. But that's probably the last thing on someone's mind when they come to complain about their bosses. Latest email. I don't feel like the sentiment is anti-work. It's, I want nice capitalism where I can stay at home and my boss isn't mean. I have completely lost the feeling that our anti-work was actually going to accomplish anything since the Fox News disaster. If you read my rant to the bottom, I appreciate it. I know these are just my personal feelings. Career manual laborer here. Never had a job that could be done from home, can't reasonably expect to ever have one. But I feel very strongly that any job that can possibly be done from home should absolutely have that option. And when I hear the goddamn president of the US rail against WFH in the fucking State of the Union address, it makes me so mad I could chew glass. Even though it doesn't affect me. And I'll have to keep dragging my sorry carcass to the building where I work regardless. Because, ultimately, we're all on the same side. Or at least, we should be. You're suddenly seeing a lot of posts about this because, suddenly, there's been a massive push against it from employers and landlords of office buildings. I've worked a bunch of jobs. Retail, healthcare, hospitality, white collar and currently trades. Let me tell you, they all suck. I know it seems hard to identify with someone sitting on a chair complaining that their boss is a hyperactive control freak when you're in a prep kitchen brunoising 20 kilograms of shallots after 10 hours on your feet, or standing in a muddy ditch in the rain while a laser level beeps incessantly at you, but you have to. Worker solidarity is key. We are all victims of capitalism. Never, ever forget it. Worker solidarity between the white and blue collar. It's the capitalist we must take up arms against. It's the capitalist who pins us against each other. Don't be mad at the office workers. Be mad at your boss. I work from home. I have a nice boss. I hate working. No matter what the job is. It's taking up my time. My finite amount of time on Earth. Here I am. It's a wonder of the universe that we even exist, truly amazing. And I am spending most of it working. There is so much more to life than work. And yet I feel like I won't get to experience most of the things that I would like to. I am going to exist. Work so that I can exist. And then die. What a miserable way to experience the astoundingly unlikely existence I've been given. I don't think I am alone in feeling this way. And I feel for anyone that can relate to what I am saying here. It's amazing that we are living creatures capable of thought, learning, communication, and emotions. It's depressing that most of us will die having spent the majority of our time doing things we hate. I work from home, and understand where you're coming from. Things are evolving, though. Everyone is getting sick of being taken advantage of, on all sorts of levels. I think it's good. Me personally, I get more upset about y'all's position more than my own. and have a completely different stance on income, minimum wage, raises that at least meet inflation. Like WTF? Since being part of the group, if others think the same, maybe we can all get more support at the local, community level. The end goal is really just better quality of life for all. We are here for you too. My dude. We don't want you to have shitty bosses either. My recommendation? Make a post about what you are currently upset about in your job and see what people think. I'd bet you'd find the sense of belonging you are looking for. I'm confused by the advocacy for workers doing mostly physical labor as compared to office workers. I don't think I could have a construction job, etc., because I have joint issues. They'd just be dust in 5 years, but I wouldn't know it for another 15. For me, going to an office can be extremely physically taxing in ways that no OME will probably ever care about. If it's a frustration that recent popular discussion are leaving a big section of workers out, then I think it's great to express that and keep advocating for people. But I don't think anyone is here to play suffering Olympics. All workers deserve frankly, basic accommodations. That does not mean that workers who are not able to work from home due to the nature of their work also don't deserve every consideration. And then some more every 6 months until the heat death of the universe. We still have many ways to build each other up before there's any need to level criticisms at our neighbors. Everyone's job can be made less rewarding and less enjoyable by poor management, office politics, and low pay, benefits. Doesn't matter whether you're working in an office, a coal mine, or an aircraft carrier. Guys, you are forgetting your opportunities and responsibilities here. Yes, there is some white collar complaining going on. So what? You don't abandon a group because they don't fit your ideals perfectly. This crap happens on the left so much it is practically our own ideological cancer. Nothing is perfect. No group is going to agree on everything. There is a spark here and curious people are starting to gather around it. It's your job to educate and influence them into action. Reddit is certainly not the ultimate location for this action. It's hard to organize in a place that could easily ban you for strong language. It is, however, where flint and rock are colliding. Fan the flames. Change the world. A lot of the current sentiment is very in line with the sub. For sure, some jobs need to be done out in the world. But there are also many jobs that don't. The issue is with the aspect of capitalism that is running out of excuses and just needs to admit it's a control thing. My job requires me to be at the physical location of my employment. But I will absolutely support my comrades who are being exploited. Even if it doesn't directly affect me. We will only affect change if we stick together and are organized. We vastly outnumber the oligarchs that feel they own us. Not just our labor but our physical existence. Sometimes a large upswell of outrage is just what is needed to give the boulder a push down the hill. That boulder is the working class, and when it starts rolling we will be unstoppable. Have you thought that perhaps workers are being exploited differently in different categories of work? Perhaps both groups that can and should work from home and need to be at work be fairly compensated for their work regardless. This seems like a request to switch from one to the other when the reality is both groups should be working together to make things better for each other. From my casual browsing alone, I think the recent focus on WFH and SITch is because of the recent statement by Biden on trying to get people back into the office. This is the hot topic at the moment. So people are posting heavily about it. This is what drowned out the previous hot topic of the Euro model looking to switch to a 4-day workweek. Kind of like how the whole freedom convoy horseshit died down in intensity once an actual war started and real oppression started getting a spotlight shone on it. Give it time. People will be back to the usual focal points. This nitpicking of small differences is what we are trained to do. The fact of the matter is, if we're fighting about who has the worst shit job, we are not paying attention to fact they are all shit and the system it rigged to make everyone miserable. No, it isn't. This fight is your fight, and your fight is their fight. I think we're more just pissed about unnecessary shit. Yeah, we want a WFH. Because we can. But we get that construction, retail, manufacturing workers can't. But at the same time, we have to also remain pissed about people working unnecessarily crappy jobs in other situations. Whether that be not enough PPE, no healthcare given to workers who strain their bodies every day, or not enough pay. We just have to remember what unnecessary shit workers of all kinds put up with and support each other in lessening it. It's not about the specifics. It's about people having to put up with bad conditions when it's not needed. Never worked in an office. Worked in retail, construction, and now a pizza chain. They all sucked. We are all victims of the same attitudes of owners of companies who only care about money. Potentially good intentioned, but it comes off as divisive from the manual labor side, and it's completely unproductive. This akin to white-collar workers complaining about the minimum wage workers achieving a wage hike because it doesn't raise their wages and increases their costs. Brothers, I don't care if you work in a different sector, have a different educational background or different pay scale. As long as you are all making headway in closing this decades-long widening gap of corporate profits, employee productivity and employee compensation, you have my axe. We all have our conflicts to fight, and there's enough opposition out there already. My wife works from home. I travel the country working in the plants and mills. She likes working from home. I think everyone at her company should be WFH. My wife is in a wheelchair, but very independent. WFH makes life easier, saves money, and she's very productive with her work. Just the other day I got this response to one of my comments here on this page. If I am ordering 1 sandwich, or 10 sandwiches, you are still getting no tip. Or like $2 at best. I'm not your boss. Ask your boss for a living wage and let me do with my paid for meals what I want. It reeked of, if you don't like it, just get a better job. Kind of weird to see that sentiment here on the anti-work sub, where we all know that just asking for a better wage and something bootstraps isn't really possible. Make a post advocating for what's important to you, instead of complaining that other workers have their own struggles that you personally don't care about. Blue collar versus white collar is just pointless in fighting. Workers need to unite.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.